Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and India Post Live is, of course, all about your participation. Do come in on social media. Just use Twitter, hashtag India Post Live to your tweets, or use our Twitter handle at India Post Live. On Facebook, we have a Facebook page called India Post Live. Go ahead, like it, comment over there, share pictures, videos, anything you really want. On IndiaPostLive.com, well, that's where we are streaming live right now, in case you're watching. And in case you're watching this later, you can even check out other videos as well. So go ahead and do so on various other topics of conversation that we have, ranging from anything under the sun we've actually discussed. So in case you want to come in and participate also, that's the option there for you. You can be the expert, tell us your opinion. All you need to do is just send us a participation request, and we'll for sure get your voice heard via Skype or Google Hangout. All right, today we're talking about Harry Potter. And Harry Potter is indeed a popular figure, but why are we talking about Harry Potter today? Well, Harry Potter and racism and sensitivity among school children towards such issues, that is interlinked. How is that interlinked? We've put a story together for you. Take a look.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
It's not just about magic, wizards, and flying brooms. It's been 7 years since the last Harry Potter book was out, but the series seems to be still imparting values to young readers around the world.
Petrificus totalis.
Be it the issue of elf rights or the prejudices about pure blood and half-bloods, the Harry Potter series has always taught its readers to fight bigotry.
Understand this, Harry, because it's very important. Not all wizards are good.
According to findings of a new paper in the Journal of Applied Social Psychology, reading the Harry Potter series significantly improves young readers' perception of stigmatized groups like immigrants, homosexuals, or refugees. So the next time you read the books or order them for your younger friends, remember, it's not just fantasy and a simple good fighting evil thing going on there, but a lot of socially significant learning as well.
Come to die.
Come on, Tom. Let's finish this the way we started. Together!
So learning from Harry Potter, that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to be talking with Naima Nasir. She's a student of an MPhil student of Women and Gender Studies at Ambedkar University, and we have with us Vismay Avasthi. He's a student of English Literature doing his Masters from Jamia Millia Islamia, and Ramit Mehra is here with us. Ramit Mehra, familiar face on India Post Live, lead guitarist, the local train, and commentator at large, I would call you that. We're also being joined by Musa Nishat. He's a Harry Potter fan. He joins us from Pakistan, and Kirti Jaikumar joins us from Chennai. She's also a Harry Potter fan. So what makes Harry Potter so special, Naima? Why is Harry Potter socially relevant? I mean, we have the research in front of us, but is that a practical thing? Do you think that it was written with that social message also when J.K. Rowling wrote it?
I don't know about the author's intent, but it surely came out like that, you know, and especially with our generation who sort of grew with Harry Potter, and we were the ones who waited every year. You know, I remember the date 15 July when the book would be out, and all of that. We did everything. And while reading the book, I know I can speak for myself, I was struck by how he's the ultimate outsider. Right from school, right from parents, family, etc. So I think so. So all those things really matter and really factor into the whole phenomena that Harry Potter has become. And also I think as for like the social relevance is concerned, while growing up we wouldn't know about it much, but I think now it's not the factor, but it is certainly one of the factors that shapes you.
All right, so Harry Potter indeed has shaped you, is what you're saying, and many in your generation perhaps. What about you, Vamsi? Did it influence you? And also in terms of literature, I mean, you're a student of literature, so if you take something like Gulliver's Travels, and Gulliver's Travels also had an underlying message in terms of, I mean, I've also done literature, so I know that, yeah, we'll come to you, but just to let him continue.
If we look at the undertones that Harry Potter has, the socio-political and the economic milieu of London, the present-day London, what J.K. Rowling tries to capture, that has been done pretty well in the book series, I believe. And also how she incorporated magic into it. And then she brings up the term mudblood to address muggles who were magical in nature. So yeah, the other issue again, I mean, the alienation issue and the other issues, the self and the other. We look at it now when I've studied literature, like being a student of literature, now I analyze it through such perspectives. Earlier when I read them, it was just gripping. That was the word for it. But now there is a difference in perspective.
All right, but do you think it, because you were such avid fans of Harry Potter, did it ever influence you in terms of your behavior or how you thought about things or your approach towards, I mean, did your approach towards anything change because of Harry Potter?
Maybe subconsciously. Yeah. Okay. Touch
So
wood.
no, continue.
Subconsciously, maybe it did.
Okay.
Because I grew up in a boarding school and at home, so there were certain issues which I could relate to with Harry and Hermione, especially being a mudblood and got racist slurs. But how he doesn't react to somewhat, I feel I didn't react to it either. It was very recent, so I didn't react only. So it just stopped there.
All right, so maybe Harry Potter has taught you a lot, but what about you, Raman? Did you get any big learning from Harry Potter, the series, the books, the
Not
movies?
learning. I think it was gripping. It was entertaining. It was well written. At a time when the literature section for the kids was filled with everything happy and everything nice and shiny, here came something which had death as a very main theme to it, you know. And there was darkness. Suddenly there was one book was just not enough. You know, the entire story stretches in 7 books. You know, and there's so much that she talks about. And what I feel what she did was that she took what was happening in society around her and she reflected that really well in her books. She wasn't trying to change people. She wasn't trying to change the impression of people. Yeah, there was no preaching or any such thing. And most of these studies, I think, if they want to find a correlation, they'll find a correlation. That's what they did.
All right, but all right, let's get in a voice from a younger person. I mean, the last Harry Potter book came out in 2007, and we have with us from Pakistan, Musa Nisat. Hi, Musa, can you hear me? All right, in fact, let's go across to Meher Oberoi. She's a fan and she joins us from Chandigarh. Meher, your take on Harry Potter and his influence in terms of actually shaping young minds. Do you think the Harry Potter series can shape a young mind into being more tolerant, more accepting?
Reading in the first place if I hadn't come across Harry Potter. So one of the key things that J.K. Rowling did is she got a generation into reading when everybody was concerned, whether adults were all concerned that the reading population as far as the kids were concerned was dwindling. So she brought about this whole generation of kids that wanted to read rather than play on the iPad or watch TV.
All right, so you think that Harry Potter brought a lot of fans, brought a lot of people to read the books?
Which is very important, I think.
All right, what about you, Musa? Musa, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hello, can you
Hi,
hear me?
can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So we were just asking, I mean, you're younger than most of us over here. So your take on Harry Potter, how big an influence? Is it still an influence? Have you read all of them? Have you seen all the movies?
I've seen all the movies and I've read 3 of them. And could you repeat the question?
All right, I was just asking, what do you think about the books? Do you find the movies better, the books better?
Well, I saw the movies first, so I think I'd be a little bit biased. I like the movies better, but the books, I think they're much better for just imagining the thing yourself. The movies, they're hard set on one thing. This is how the ogre looks. This is how the magic spell looks. But when you're reading the book, you just imagine it for yourself, and it's a completely different experience for everyone.
All right, wonderful. And what about behavior? I mean, we're discussing how Harry Potter has friends who are from very different communities. I mean, if I remember, there was a lady, Lakshmi Parvati was her name? Yeah, so Lakshmi Parvati. Parvati Patil was there, and various other characters from all across the world, showing a multicultural society like today. So, do you think kids in your generation, in your school, with you, have become more accepting of each other thanks to heroes like Harry Potter?
I mean, I think they did in a way because the main one of the bad guys, Malfoy, the little kid, he's a race, he's really mean to people whose parents aren't wizards, like mudbloods. He's the bad guy, and all the good guys are fine with that. So I mean, sure, it's like you're a bad person if you think it's like if you think a certain person is bad because their family or something like that.
All right, it's interesting. I mean, the Harry Potter is still very popular. You might not have read all the books, but you've certainly seen all the movies. But just the simple thing of Harry Potter and his influence. I mean, we've discussed all this many times, whether Dumbledore's sexual orientation and all these things were there. But in terms of the books, did that sexual overtone ever come out very openly? Was it something you were conscious of when you were reading it?
No, not at first, not at first. It's only when, in line of academics, when I started reading, I did a research paper on Harry Potter in my final year in Masters. So I was looking at the politics in Harry Potter and then, how Hogwarts is like your typical English boarding school, for example, like Oliver Twist. And then, looking at parallels there. So that is when, when you look at it like that, that is when you realize all these implications, because the packaging of Harry Potter is so nice and so attractive that, we can all tell a story about a boy whose parents have died, etc. But to tell it in such a way, because if you look at it, the plot in itself is very basic, your typical good versus bad, etc. But the packaging is so nice that it gripped you, and then you realize the subsequent implications.
All right, Vamsi, what about the fact that, with J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter, before that we had a bit of a drought in terms of great characters for children. Last had probably been created by Enid Blyton in the sense of characters that lived on for a generation. Do you think Nancy Drew and this thing was, I think, more manufactured? They were all ghostwritten.
They were the soaps of children's literature.
So was it the replacement for that entire culture? We grew up more with Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys.
Yeah, I personally grew up with Harry Potter. So I've never read an Enid Blyton book. So
You have not?
Yeah, no.
Wow.
I haven't.
I
never was.
We're on the older side of the segment because we've read a lot of comic books. Because that was also a big thing, from Archie's to maybe even Chacha Chaudhary. Pran just passed away.
Yes, but and our condolences to Pran and his family. But Chacha Chaudhary, an immortal character. So in terms of that, there were attempts in India to sort of cash in on the Harry Potter wave, and that really never caught on, did it? There was Harry Potter who would come in. I remember there was a whole controversy about that. But do you think the Harry Potter in a vernacular language, in Hindi or Gujarati or Marathi, is as popular or could be as popular as the original version?
I think so. Why not?
I don't know why. I disagree with that because I watched a movie, I think it was Goblet of Fire in Hindi.
You know English in that sense, and you know, and you've read it like
and I'm not very good with Hindi
either.
either. Not very fluent in Hindi
so
either.
How would
but
you?
Still, it was pretty horrible. That experience was pretty horrible to me. It was horrific actually.
I see some discrimination happening.
Jurassic Park in Hindi was the tough one when they were all Badi Chipkali at that point in time. The dubbing wasn't that good at that point in time. But all right, Meher, as far as you're concerned, we're talking about the influence that Harry Potter has had, but do you think that Harry Potter could become a bigger brand in India if it had been marketed better, if, for example, the books had been turned into various languages?
You'd have to be like a really, really good translator, make it that interesting for the kids to read in Hindi, because I don't know too many kids who like reading in Hindi anyway. So.
All right. So
I think that's a very valid point but the thing is, everybody's following Harry Potter, right? So whatever they do, they did translate the books. But at the same time, you have to understand that too many different languages. So for Harry Potter to be an Indian phenomenon in a regional language might not be that easy, because most of the people who are reading in Hindi are also reading in English. It's the other regional languages that you might want to tap at, But again, it'll be too spread out for there to be a unison of voices saying that Harry Potter is
huge. So if you translate it in a regional language, for example, Gujarati or Hindi, then I think it's not just simple translation. You'll have to adapt the plot
In the setting.
in the setting. Yeah, I think that
Absolutely,
that factors
that
in.
effort. I mean, the books were translated. We do not know the popularity. In fact, if you know the popularity of the regional versions of Harry Potter, do let us know. Tweet out to us, send us a Facebook message if you want. Just anyhow, send us a carrier pigeon if you have one. I want to see one of those. But we have a video response that's come in, and that's come in all the way from Delhi only by Sharda Benz. She's a psychotherapist and a spiritual healer. Sorry, and from the UK, not from Delhi. So let's listen to what Sharda had to say.
Hello, India Post Live. My name is Sharada Bain and I'm a therapist and healer. Through Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling has fired the imagination of millions of children and adults. And along the way, she's conveyed the message of tolerance and kindness, empathy and inclusiveness. Whether it's the kitchen elf slaving away out of sight or Hagrid the giant gamekeeper, unkempt and rough-edged, and most of all, of course, Harry the tragic orphan, Rowling repeatedly enlists our sympathy for the underdog. The heroes in Harry Potter's world are the outsiders, those who don't quite fit in. In fact, Rowling has said that she's always thought of Professor Dumbledore as gay. Their power comes from the heart, from being kind and wise. These are great role models for young people. They are being invited to identify with characters who are often not a good fit within mainstream culture. It may seem pretty obvious to say that every one of us is different. What seems to be less obvious is that so many of us want to be the same. We fear and distrust those who are not like us. And in our wanting to fit in, we fear that if we have different or independent views that our friends, family, or colleagues don't agree with, we will at best be treated with suspicion or at worst become an outcast. So, for the sake of being accepted, we deny the truth that is in our heart, the truth of who we are. We can become bigots, intolerant of people we see as different or less than our stature. The heart always asks questions of us. When we can answer them with truth and love, then there is no space for bigotry or intolerance because we know that the person who is struggling or who seems so weird or unacceptable is also a human being just like us.
All right, indeed, profound words over there by Sharda, and so that's the kind of impact that Harry Potter has had. Many would dismiss Harry Potter as just another children's book, a phenomenon, a fad that lasted, but it has affected popular culture, it has affected culture, it's still affecting kids till this date, and I'll get final words from everybody. Meher, I'll start with you. Anything that you think Harry Potter should have talked about and did not talk about? All the books or all the movies, anything that you think in modern society went unaddressed from Harry Potter?
I would have liked more sex in it, but it's a children's book, so.
Fair enough. I mean,
Because she did talk about that a little, where the children are going through changes and they're turning into adults. But she shied away from it. She hasn't said it out loud as much as she could have, but it's a children's book and she has to sell.
All right. What about you, Musa? Anything that you think Harry Potter, any adventure that he should have, you wanted to last longer?
I don't know about adventure that should have lasted longer, but people always talk about how how Dumbledore's gay. They always talk about that, but it's never talked. There's always hints about it in the books, but in books and movies, it's never talked about. If it was explored more, maybe people around the world would be a little bit more accepting. Thanks to Harry Potter.
Interesting point you make over there. Nyasa, what about you? Naima, sorry. Naima, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree with the gay that point. If it would have been, if she would have written about it more than giving hints, it would have been great, because the responses that came to her hint were not so accepting as we'd like to believe. So that could be one of the points. And apart from that, no, there should be more books, like 10 more.
Harry's still alive.
Harry's still alive. No,
Yeah.
but Harry is still alive. He's turned 30.
Yeah,
he's turned
34.
34 on
He's 34.
Red July.
Recently, there's one short story has come out. Rita Skeeter. It's
Rita
like
Skeeter's
from
journal.
her point of view. There's a short story, like 1500 words, but it was fun. And in the short story, apparently Harry and Ginny are having marriage problems and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Check
how
it
magic,
out.
how magic. Suddenly, that problem magic can't solve.
Reality in magic.
What about you, Vamsi? Anything that Harry Potter did not
Vismay.
touch upon? Sorry, Vismay. Anything that Harry Potter did not touch upon? I think I had a portion of it.
Maybe it could continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the end of the book, the 19 years later, the extra chapter there in italics.
And you know that he shouldn't have destroyed his wand, Dumbledore's wand.
The Elder Wand.
In the
Yeah,
movies.
Elder Wand. No, not destroyed. He shouldn't have kept it back in Dumbledore's tomb. He should have used it for all the evil.
For becoming Voldemort then. He become Tom
Master of
Riddle all
Death
over again.
again.
Anti-Voldemort.
Yeah, definitely. I think the ending was very, picture perfect. Okay, fine. They have kids now and they're going to, everything is fine and happy and dandy. It's not real. Everything else about the book could have been more real. I mean, there were deaths. It seemed like it would go in a direction where you would be more satisfied rather than going with the, oh, ye to pata hi tha hona hai,
Or maybe open-ended.
What I was surprised about was there was no obvious reference to substance abuse, which is prevalent, especially across the UK. There was no reference to that in terms of the elders, so how that affects children. So I was surprised with that in terms of
It's a very valid point.
reflecting society.
No, but then how much can she put in? It's
She
not
put in quite a bit.
As much as you
Now
want.
kuch hai, like,
No, they had butterbeer.
All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. Thanks so much, guys, for coming in. It was a pleasure to have you, Musa and Meher. Thank you so much for coming in. Ramit and Naima and Vismay, thank you very much for coming in, both of you, for discussing Harry Potter. So that's the influence that Harry Potter has had over the past couple of decades. What do you think? Write into us, tweet out to us, and we'll for sure get your voice heard. Thanks so much for watching.